Surrender, mutant.
Of course. Not.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. We've got your weekly news and news. We are the Mattitude Eric. I'm Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, everybody.
That was very theatrical.
You know.
Let's start with Youse this week. Let's start with Youse.
Wait. No, let's start
with Youse. No, start with Youse because
no,
there's been no Youse the past 2 weeks.
No. But
Right.
I just want to. I want to be better at doing business at the top, Matt. We're not good at self-promoters.
But then the Youse can come like business, like write in and stuff, and
yeah, but also like listen to our Supergirl episode as a Patreon exclusive.
But see, there's a comment about Supergirl that can lead into us talking about that, and then bleed into the Supergirl box office bomb news.
But we can say it twice now.
I don't like saying things twice. I like it to be smooth and I like it. It's cleaner.
Yes.
My way is cleaner.
If you want to become one of our Patreon subscribers, it's a delight, and you get special bonus episodes like our Supergirl one.
Sure. Now we can't talk about it bombing later. Okay. Fine. We'll do it the way Eric wants to, even though it's clunky and it's terrible. Now I got to shift into news mode, Eric. I'm all out of sorts.
Out of sorts.
So we've got box office news up top or at least at top of the docket. And so let's just start there. I don't want to talk about Supergirl. I want to talk about Obsession, which is finally viewable at home. So now please capture footage at home and stop fucking recording movie theater screens.
But how are you going to prove you saw it, Matt, if you don't record the screen? And that's how you post it.
You have to prove you saw it?
Well,
I'm just saying, I'm people
just
are using it for content. Being like,
I know. Yeah. It's just I loathe this practice. The people posting video of the screen. I loathe it for many reasons, including the fact that means you were fucking annoying people sitting behind you when you did this. And that, you're doing it for content. But then also, it's just this weird thing of relationship people have with movies or anything that's like they have to prove they saw it in some weird way.
I don't know what this comes from. Proving you saw it. That's crazy.
But I'm like, I understand that some people are like, this is to get clicks for money. But some people are just, I think there is a certain mentality that's like, look at the screen, like I'm watching. Because some people will just post like the logo, like here's my picture of the opening.
I'm not on this algorithm. I'm on just the people who are recording the screen to make comments or make memes out of it because they can't get the footage on video.
I think it's a lot. It's all of the above, but just don't do it. It sucks. It's annoying.
I just imagine that whatever theater that emanates from is total anarchy, like a real Gremlins situation, and that everyone's filming everything at all times, and people, and I don't know, just throwing food. And
I did get to experience because New Beverly very adamant about no phones out. Sure. And they talk about they'll do the intro and they'll say it before every show. And I did have the experience with Lilo and Stitch when I went to see it a couple weeks ago. Original Lilo and Stitch. A guy was filming the screen at the beginning. And
Insanity.
But I saw the employee run down the aisle, Matt, to tell him to put that shit away.
I hope they fucking gave him a fucking running bulldog.
They tased him.
Just fucking RKO him out of the seat. Yeah, anyway, Obsession's finally at home, and I'll lead this into my brief Obsession chat, which is that usually Eric's the one bringing up Obsession, but I'll bring it up because girlfriend and I were going to see Rush this past Tuesday, and it's a long drive-ish, over an hour to Fort Worth from where I live, and about halfway, maybe more than halfway of the drive, they canceled the show. So they canceled it probably 40 minutes before doors because Geddy Lee, being a real beta cuck, is like, I have bronchitis and laryngitis, and so anyway, got canceled. And so she had never seen Obsession and had been meaning to, and it's also like, look, she sort of needs, I guess, for really intense horror movies, which is, previous to 2 years ago, she wasn't watching any horror movies.
And then she met Matt.
And then now I'm like, hey, how about a horror movie a week? But she had been part of, like, obviously Obsession's been in theaters for so many weeks now that, like, she's seen memes. She's seen the people who record the fucking movie in the theaters. She's seen all this stuff. So she felt like she had a good enough handle on it. And it did have interesting themes and things she wanted to watch. But then seeing it a second time myself, it was just my second time, I realized, maybe through her, how intense this movie is, how upsetting the movie can be, as far as just like the performances, and I don't know, it's just a really wrought, wrenching movie, and which makes it even more surprising that it's become this like breakaway hit, that in the theater, two sons, and I will say they're like probably like early 20s, were taking their mom to see it. You know what I mean? Like it was, this is like The English Patient. This is like, it's reached this broad an audience, and it is a really gory, upsetting in theme and performance movie.
Yes.
So anyway, it's just more surprising that like this is the runaway hit.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually got Trish to see it for the first time on Friday night last week.
Yeah.
And so big week for this podcast getting our significant others session. And Trish is funny with horror movies because she generally likes them, but she wants me to see them first because she doesn't like if they're like just super dark in tone. Like, you know, what will the feeling of it at the end of the movie be? And, you know, because horror runs such the gamut, and there can be movies that are super fun where 50 people get killed, and there can be movies where one person dies and it's the most depressing thing ever. It's all about like, what's the feel of the movie? And I did tell her, like, you know, the thing about Obsession, I think I've said this on this podcast, but it's like the magic trick of Obsession is it's very dark. It ends very dark. And yet it's also fun. Like, it's like a weird thing where, you know, it's like the combination of her performance, which is just so impressive, but also the movie itself lands at such a place that, yeah, people who would never go see a movie that is about this stuff are going to see it. So it is kind of fascinating to see that happening. But yeah, it's funny. They put it on digital this week. Now, like, look, if I were in control of the Universal Corporation, Matt. Oh, actually, I just thought of a news story we should talk about as I'm saying this. I would have just held on this sucker till digital to September, because the movie was still making $1 million a day this week. It was one of the first movies in forever to be doing that. That's a rare thing, like 45 days in to still be making $1 million. It was still number 3 at the box office. And I get it that it's like they're not pulling it from theaters. It will still make money in theaters. But I also am like, hey, just maximize this. But I also know Universal are the ones who are finally next year committing to a 45-day window again. They love to put shit on digital 17 days after, and they held off on this, you know, in the first place because of how well it was doing. So I know this was a compromise, but yeah, just insane run.
I think it's worth mentioning too, just piggybacking off of Obsession, which is that in the wake of big video game news and like big video game digital versus physical media news, as far as like Sony saying like they're not going to produce physical discs of video games anymore, and that GTA 6 is going to be digital only, and that you know, what does this mean? Does this mean other competitors like lean into physical media as a way to like counteract the, you know, the backlash to this? But what does this mean for physical media in general? Also, they just deleted people's movie lockers that they had on PlayStation.
Oh, you know, because it was a deal with Studio Canal ended, and it was like 500 plus titles.
So a lot of content this week has been based on if buying is no longer owning, right? And this is something that we've always feared. Like if you and I, like at any moment, we could have our entire Fandango, formerly Voodoo,
right,
like, media lockers that we've spent hundreds of dollars on vanish because we don't own it. And so then that brings back the piracy debate, because the whole thing we were raised with is like, you wouldn't download a car or whatever, you know, that bullshit. And it's like, yeah, maybe you would, because buying isn't owning anymore. And I say this because Obsession released on digital, which is like, it's a $20 rental, a $24 digital ownership. But Eric, you could buy the Blu-ray for $25, right?
And it comes with a digital code.
And it comes with a digital, and it comes with extras, and like, or you could buy the fucking 4K for 32 or whatever,
yes,
like,
yes.
And so like you could spend the same money to own it and the digital and like what the actual advantage is of that,
Right. But yeah, of course, yeah, it's just a strange little game here because they love to get you to pay multiple times for the same thing.
Well,
So,
I understand the $20 rental to $24 owner because it's the big gulp thing, which is like, oh, just for $4 more, we could just own this movie instead of having to like rent it temporarily.
Right.
But like, yeah, just fucking buy the Blu-ray.
Man, yeah. Even if you don't think you're gonna watch it, you can spend the same amount of money and you will have the digital version and you'll have the physical version that they can't take from you under any circumstances. So, let me know. Let's finish box office stuff, but then let me remind me about what you made me think of with Universal and the corporate news about NBC Universal. We should talk about that we didn't put on this.
I don't know what it is, but I'll remind you of it. Okay. So the big news coming out of this past weekend was the financial tanking of Supergirl, which, look, a few months back, if you listen to us, what were we worried about, Eric? We were worried about Disclosure Day. We were worried about He-Man. We were worried. There was another one we were worried about that didn't do. Grogu, fucking, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now the Spielberg and the Star Wars had bigger openings because they are what they are, right? But these are all going to be looked at as big disappointments. And Supergirl worried me because of the climate. Like Supergirl, maybe there's only one time in history a Supergirl movie wouldn't have worried me, and it would have been 2017 or something like that. You know what I mean? Any other time.
You mean when Wonder Woman opened, did really well, and it wasn't like at the center of a culture war?
Yes. Yeah. And we were just beginning the culture war because I do remember for Wonder Woman, Alamo had like women only screenings.
Oh, that's right.
That men objected to. Anyway. So, but yeah, it performed really poorly. And again, not helped by the fact that it wasn't reviewed well. It's not one of those, it's a great movie, but it just, it's a thing where the public wasn't ready for it and the culture war was too strong or something like that. It also just doesn't help that it got mixed reviews. And there are people that are championing it, and there are people that are calling it the worst thing ever, and neither side is correct. Like in their I maybe the championing, I do understand why somebody may really like it, but I feel like people hating it is all in bad faith. It's in the middle. And you can listen to us talk about it on the Breakout Hudson Hawk Patreon exclusive episode.
I think the biggest way you see this is the fact that Master of the Universe, also a big financial bomb, also opened around the same. I think maybe even cost a little more, but they're pretty similar as far as cost and low box office. They're both
alien worlds with a lot of effects.
But just on the financial side, they're very similar. But which one is getting fucking hated and YouTube videos and, the lead actress getting like personally attacked for her looks and all this bullshit. And we always knew which one it would be because that's the world we live in. It just fucking sucks. Like it just sucks that Supergirl can't just be a so-so movie that bombed on its own terms. It has to be this because that's.
I mean, we got a taste of this with the Marvels, but the Marvels was different because it wasn't different. It was different in a similar way, which is a weird sentence, which is to say like it's being looked at as a female-led superhero movie, but also as something that means something for a larger franchise, right? Because at that point they're like, it's MCU's first big fucking bomb, like
right.
It wasn't even the first like Rotten Tomato score. It was just the first bomb,
Yeah, or biggest, because Incredible Hulk had been their lowest grossing until that point. The interesting thing here is, yes, it's the second movie from the DCU, so it's not great that it's a bomb. The third one's coming in October, as we've said. Clayface is such a smaller movie; it doesn't have to make nearly as much to be successful. I think its budget's like $40 million. So everything about it is very different, but it's also an easy way to get good press because if it's a well-received financial success. But also, it's interesting because Millie Alcock has a sizable role in Superman next year. It's like we will see her again as this character for sure. And which I'm happy about because I like her in this role. And it'll just be interesting. The only thing is it's like Now it's like it's going to be something to navigate in the press. And Peter Safran did put out a statement opening weekend about, while we're disappointed in the how this is done, we're still kind of going forward, as we were, and basically trying to get
having to put out a goddamn statement for an underperforming blockbuster. It's
I
crazy.
know, but it's all weird because they're shooting Superman right now, which means it's like they're kind of dealing with this in the moment. But yeah,
how reactionary do you think they could get? Would they be like cut her role down in the movie?
Like, I think Gunn.
I would think Gunn would use his control for that, but yeah,
he would not want to do that, and he wouldn't do that. Again, as we've said, it's all a weird state of everything's in flux because we don't even know if Warner Brothers was going to be owned by Paramount in the near future and what that will mean for everything going forward. But it all circles back to the fact that it's very hard to launch a cinematic universe. And this is the second time DC's trying it since Marvel did it so well. And yeah, it's.
I'll tell you the way to launch a cinematic universe: do a fucking horror movie about a cursed object, so that you can get a Talk to Me sequel, a fucking Obsession sequel, possibly. Like you just extend it through the object, not the characters, or do a weapons movie where you can have a prequel about a certain colorful character. Now, the Fangoria Chainsaw Award nominations, voting mailer went out, and I was bummed because of the calendar year. We're circling back to like this time last year that I have to pit like Weapons and Obsession and these movies against each other, which feel like they're from completely different seasons at this point.
I know they're on like a weird Emmys track where it's just like you have to think about what you're voting for at this point.
The M&Ms come out next week, right?
I believe so.
The 8th.
It's, by the way, it's so funny living in LA. I'll post this on social media. I meant to, because I took a picture the other day of, for your consideration, it's a season in LA where it's like suddenly LA is filled with billboards for every TV show imaginable that's aired in the past year because they're pushing for Emmy nominations in the town where the Emmy voters live. But what's funny is it means you get like new art for shows because they won't use just like the usual poster art. But it's also will trick you because I'll see a really cool billboard for Alien Earth with like a cool xenomorph picture. And for a second, your mind goes, new season? Like they're already promoting? And then it's like, no, it's for your consideration, the season that aired last year of Alien Earth. But it's like, yeah, just that's the one I took a picture of. But yes, it's just funny. It's plastered all over. I put a picture of my pizza box from Prime Pizza with a Scrubs for your consideration on the front of the box. It's a whole thing here in LA.
They'll shove those fucking ads everywhere. Backrooms is also returning to theaters with 15, I believe, minutes of extra footage.
I mean, to be fair, it never left theaters, but it's
okay. Well, it's re-emerging with more footage in an extended cut to get people to see it again. That's why they do these things. What's that clocked in at? I mean, it's still a massive hit.
What is the box office of it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's 300 something. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. It's interesting that it's like this extra 50 minutes is specifically post credit. So it does 330 million. So
so it actually gives us a wrap up that we might want.
But also it doesn't change the narrative that we watched. It's like the movie.
Okay, so it's not like. So it's not what people were joking about or were actually probably naturally is just assuming, which was like more walking around the back rooms and looking at rooms, No,
I saw that there's an image of more Duplass, so I think it's probably more of the company.
Actually, that's kind of what I wanted. Okay, good.
Right. So that's in theaters right now. I might try to go see that this weekend, actually. Although my priority is seeing The Furious, which is almost gone even in LA, which means it's really gone everywhere, but it's such a good theatrical experience. I'm going to see it one more time tonight.
What else? There was something else I was going to mention. This is your NBC Universal reminder, but also I want to ask you, because not just because it was well reviewed, obviously, and Indy Navarrete gives a standout performance. Do you think because of the box office success, we will see Obsession nominated for Best Picture?
Oh, Best Picture, I don't think is happening. I mean, it would be that would be amazing. But
I don't know. I think it's such a huge. I don't know.
It's possible.
Out of the 10 movies, I feel like it's possible.
It's possible, but I really think the real credible
what about her?
She has a good shot, a very good shot. I think that it's a real possibility. As much as people are, it's true to say, do not expect her to be. Now, I think people would line themselves up for disappointment if they're like, she's a sure thing. But I think there's going to be so much talk around her, and it really is a standout thing. And yeah, I
don't think anything horror related is a sure thing.
But, no.
So then when it doesn't happen, people are going to be like, what?
Yeah. Focus is already said they're going to campaign the movie. They're absolutely going to campaign the movie, and she, I think, has a very good shot. The only big question right now is, will they campaign her for supporting or lead?
Whatever they think she has the best shot, yeah.
And which is why they might do supporting, because the thinking goes, and I think they're correct, is the Academy is more likely to honor her as supporting, has this like new breakout ingenue discovery than to put her as a lead, even though she probably deserves to be in the lead actress category. That might be a little bridge too far for them, and that supporting might be a better shot. So we'll see what they do, which they decide to campaign her for. But I think that she has a good shot. Best picture, I think, would be unlikely. Again, we don't know what's going to happen the rest of the year and what's going to be acclaimed and not acclaimed, but I think that would be a little tougher.
Eric, talk about NBC Universal. What are you talking about?
Oh, just that Comcast, who owns them, are officially doing the thing where they're going to split the companies into two different traded companies. So the Comcast tech side and the NBC Universal / Sky entertainment side are being officially split. And everyone's early speculation is this means they're going to probably sell the entertainment side eventually, which they're denying, which they probably would no matter what. So just to say, people wonder, will the next big who will own them thing be NBC Universal, which of course not only gives you a giant studio, but it gives you a giant theme park series, a theme park corporation into itself. Which is, by the way, people already got ahead of themselves. Like, what? Again, because right now they're saying they're not even put themselves up for sale. But people are like, will Netflix go for this? Because it didn't work out with Warner Brothers. And then some people said one reason Netflix wouldn't go for it is because they wouldn't want to get involved in the theme park business. So it's all just...
I would say one big reason in my backyard they wouldn't go for it is the Universal Kids Resort, which officially opened on the 1st. Yeah.
That aside, they have a ton of success. It's a, huge, it really has become like a genuine rival to Disney, except for when they make shitty kids resorts. But... it'll be interesting to see. Of course, then you already have to worry these days about what shitty corporation will buy NBC Universal. Like, who will I be upset by NBC Universal? Will Elon Musk buy NBC Universal? And it'll be like incredibly depressing. But we'll see if any of this comes to pass.
He just AI inserts himself into every episode of Cheers.
Wait. That's Paramount owns that, Matt.
Oh, well, then the Paramount people can do that.
David Ellison can do that. He comes in at the end of every Jurassic Park movie riding a T-Rex. That's what happens now.
Or he just kills, he winds up killing Dom Toretto.
I was going to say wow, you're going further. I was going to say he beats Dom Toretto in a race. Like he straight up kills him.
Well, then, and he kills him by running his car off a cliff.
All right. There you go.
He's just mad that the Fast and Furious franchise went to space more successfully than he has.
So. He's like Tej and Roman. I want what they got.
Love. Okay, so let's switch right into since we talked about Backrooms, let's talk about another creepypasta project headed to the big screen, which is Siren Head. Eric, Siren Head. Guess what Siren Head is? It's a giant monster with 2 fucking sirens for a head.
It's like when you first find out that the anime Chainsaw Man is a Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, it's not just a clever name. It's right. Siren Head. So Zach Kreger is set to produce and co-write a Siren Head movie, along with what's this dude? Brian Duffield, who's got a movie coming out that looks amazing, actually, which is called Whale Fall.
Yeah,
which is a guy eaten by a squid that's eaten by a whale and has to get out in an hour. So there you go. Love it. Anyway, Duffield is supposed to direct Siren Head in a script he's co-writing with Kreger. So there you go. They're keeping. So Hollywood is mining these, creepypasta stuff from 10, 15 years ago that internet like sensations and stuff like that, along with video games. I saw a report that they're really not interested so much in the comic books anymore, but more in the video game adaptations. So,
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Siren Head, which I knew literally zero about, but I did see that when Backrooms and Obsession took off, and people were like, they're going to look to you and Iron Lung this year, like the fact that there's been so much like YouTube, people from YouTube slash online stuff being turned into these movies. People did predict Siren Head would be a source for it, and then people were very happy with the actual talent that was involved when their prediction became true. And look, again, I don't know nothing about Siren Head, but I just know I like Zach Kreger and Brian Duffield stuff. Has big fan of No One Will Save You as well, Duffield's last movie.
oh, that was his. That was great. Yeah, I recommended it.
And at CinemaCon, they showed us the whole sequence where the guy gets swallowed by the whale, and it was great in Whalefall, and it freaked people out around me. That was really exciting. So anyway, two guys whose work I would go see anyway.
Swallowed? What's the dude who swallowed?
It's Weapons guy, Aaron Abrams.
Oh man, so this guy's he's got his Resident Evil movie coming out.
He's got his Kreger's and his Duffields. He is all over the place.
The movie also has Josh Brolin, Elizabeth Shue in a movie about a guy trying to escape a whale. It has a pretty stacked cast of human beings, which is Elizabeth Shue, Josh Brolin, and Jane Levy is in there as well, and Emily.
They're all in the whale.
They're all in. Hey, welcome to the whale. We've been trying to get out of here for 5 years.
It's like welcome to the Rock.
Welcome to Whalefall. He's like, you don't understand. I'm not supposed to be here.
This was my day off from the whale.
I'm on vacation. Okay, so Moana 3 is in development, so says Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and that's not a surprise. How do you think the live action Moana will do, Eric? Do you think it's going to do the big business that some of the other live actions have done?
No, I think it'll be middle of the road. People are saying right now they're guessing like a 60 million opening, so I don't think it's going to be the bomb of like a Snow White, but it's not going to be Lilo and Stitch. And it's interesting because Moana is massive for Disney. Like it's one of their most watched movies on Disney Plus every year. It is a huge, huge, huge thing for them. And Moana 2 made $1 billion. But I think everyone feels, including some kids, maybe this is too soon. Like, and again,
because it was just last year, right?
Well, no, too soon after Moana 2, but also too soon after the original Moana animated movie. And I get, look, I know, I understand that people just hate that these live action remakes exist anyway, but no one can deny that several of them have made $1 billion. But there's something about doing Moana 10 years after it came out, 2 years after that animated sequel came out. It feels like a weird sort of miscalculation that I don't think will bomb for them, but I think it's like, maybe it's going to make 500-600 million. And yeah, it just seems like a weird sort of thing that they're kind of throwing out there. But I will say with Moana 3, because Moana 2...
I'm just saying something probably has to give with kids' movies because Minions and Monsters is probably going to do really big business, and Toy Story 5 is already doing big business. Is there room for a third? You know what I mean? Like in a summer when people don't have a lot of money, and
Minions and Monsters is opening a lot less than Despicable Me 4. Like it's not going to be it might be the lowest grossing one in a while for that franchise. So it is. We have these like 3 movies, like you're saying, opening right on top of each other, and it is maybe too much too soon. Look, release date, there's so many things about release dates, and Supergirl, which I never think was going to be a big hit, didn't do itself any favors opening when it did, in the middle of like all these huge hits. But so yeah, I don't think Moana's going to bomb. I think it might do a little better even than they're guessing for the opening weekend, because it's the kind of movie, kids movies are very hard to do good predictions on opening weekend because there's so much walk-up business with families. But I don't think it's going to be a major hit. But Moana 3, on the other hand, yes. Obviously a no-brainer. And I think the main thing to keep in mind about Moana 2, which was totally fine and forgettable, I didn't think it was terrible like some people said, but it was nothing special, and I love the first Moana, is that because they took a Disney Plus TV series and they turned it into a movie fairly last minute, like I think like a year out.
It was a very quick transformation turnaround.
Yes. Yeah. And so not only would the story suffer from that, but like a huge thing is Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't do the music for that movie, probably because he was never supposed to for the TV show, and now it was like this was his schedule, probably didn't permit it. I noticed he did a new song for the live action movie, and I'm like, I think they're going to move hell and high water and pay him whatever it needs for him to be involved in Moana 3. That's my biggest guess, is that because they're going to give this one a lot more care than the last one did, which made $1 billion on the rush job it was. I think that they will work very hard to make this movie have all the bells and whistles.
Stranger Things is an interesting phenomenon as far as like a show that started with no buzz, and then in one weekend it was a huge word of mouth hit that just spread and became like the biggest thing, like for Netflix, to the point where the stupid Netflix house that I have down the street from me has only 2 things. It's like Netflix house. You think you can go there and see a bunch of Netflix things? No, it's only a Stranger Things immersive experience and like some Squid Game bullshit. So it's 2 things. But then like people like thinking that as like, especially by season 3 and then 4, like pointing out like characters' plot armor and the show getting less vicious and getting a little more corny, or I don't know, the show was starting to get less well received as the seasons went on, and then the time between the seasons didn't help that, and it only sort of like let things gestate, let negativity gestate until we headed into the final season, which was still massively popular. Obviously, they released it in movie theaters, the finale and stuff like that. But one of the things entering into the final season was a rift between David Harbour, and it's interesting because it's like 2 actors, but there's a huge age gap here. One is a child, or was a child, and the other was a grown-ass man, David Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown, who would have probably the most scenes with each other on the show, like as far as characters, right? Because of the adopted daughter aspect. And I don't know, do you know, we don't have to dig into the sordid nature of it all, but just like, apparently, you know, I could just see Netflix damage control wheels spinning like out of control. It's like trying to get them in red carpet interviews to be like, we talked it over, everything's fine now, you know, we're all good, I love her, you know, I love him, you know, blah blah blah, saying the words. But now I feel like it's almost like it's like, America must know that you guys like each other, and you're going to star in a fucking Netflix series together. So anyway, I know they can't force that, but they will. David Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown are starring as father and daughter in a new Netflix spy series. So there you go.
Yes, it's that weird combination of parasocial relations, and especially a show like Stranger Things, which had a very young audience that grew up with the show and might have been like 14 when the show began. And so we're going to have this like cute, super parasocial relationship, which also meant that they would like be like unhealthily obsessed with everything about the actors, but also who they decided they hated as time went on. And David Harbour, look, it was a bad confluence of stuff for him, whether he quote unquote deserved it or not. I'm saying it's not for us to say, but I'm talking about people who think it is for them to say, which is that right before Stranger Things final season premieres, he has the 1-2 punch of the Lily Allen album that's like directly about their disintegrating marriage, and gets really
him cheating on her. Well, even before the album came out, it was just like he had cheated on her.
But this album was like, like so pointed with these stories, and then this story about like that they not only had a huge falling out, but that like she'd gone to, it was like HR, it was like a whole thing, like that he'd like screamed at her or something. And again, what the details are, I can't even remember. Plus, we don't really know the details. But
as far as we know, it wasn't like sexual creepiness. It was just sort of like, it was like anger, right?
Yeah,
like
it was
sort of like hot-headed toxic anger on set.
That is the inference, yeah. And so it's interesting because he didn't do a lot of press when the final season of Stranger Things came out because of all this, and now he's doing press, especially because we talked about Emmy campaigning for your DTF St. Louis. There's a lot of Emmy buzz around him, a show I need to watch, and so he's done some press, and he talked about all this, and this is right before they announced this Netflix show, but he said that he was saying how, me and Millie love each other, and we had some disagreements, but we've worked it out, and it's ridiculous how it gets in the press. And it's one of those things where you're like, okay, but I never know what's real, what's not, what's spin, what's not. And then they announced the show, so it's like, okay, I don't think they're going to do the show if they legitimately can't stand each other, don't want to be around each other, but at the same time, it's also that cynical side of like, is Netflix almost capitalizing on the like, there's so much talk about all this, you know?
I mean, the bones seem good because it's from Adolescence creator Jack Thorne. And it's also being produced by A24, and it's about a FBI agent turned security expert whose estranged daughter vanishes, forcing him to return to the field. Now, it's possible that because he's somebody who's out of the spy game and is drawn back in, and she's somebody who's now taken up the spy game and is estranged and vanishes, they don't have that much screen time together. They're just the whole premise is that they're apart, and maybe that's part of it. This also feels like, what was that Schwarzenegger movie series, Fubar, the Netflix show about his daughter? And okay, so it's a new bar Fubar. But yeah, so they're doing it, and but I also just feel like they couldn't leave well enough alone, which is like, yeah, people are just going to go forward in life thinking that these two hate each other. And you know what? That's okay. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. But Netflix, like, it matters.
Right.
You will believe they love each other. Like,
right.
God damn it.
And honestly, the truth probably is something with, like Harper's saying, that they had a huge blow up. They worked it out.
Except that he's an adult and she was a child. So that it's not like, yes, as actor to actor, we overcame our conflict.
I will say it's complicated because this happened on the final season. So she was in her early 20s. Also,
okay, I know. But early 20s still.
I know. But also, Matt, it almost reminds me, as we're saying about like capitalize on it. It's like wrestling. Like, oh, these people had a real life tiff or a big blow up, and like, let's do something.
Well, yeah, not only that, but the show is going to be about a father and daughter who hate each other. So.
Also, just mentioned how Millie Bobby Brown, because the week, right now, Enola Holmes 3 just debuted. Yes. And it's so interesting.
Also from Jack Thorne, by the way.
So. Yes, right. It's just interesting that, like, she did those 2 Godzilla movies, but that aside, she's basically stuck to Netflix. But it's like, she is like such a Netflix star, and we talked about how people have kind of become like streaming stars, and Adam Sandler does his huge Netflix deal, and then Mark Wahlberg gets paid a fortune because he's like someone who people will like put on his streaming movies, whether they're paying attention to them or not. And so it's funny because Millie Bobby Brown, like just has this overall deal with Netflix. So I remember when they put out the salaries, Puck had the salaries for the final season of Stranger Things, where everyone made a lot of money, again, because Netflix doesn't do back end, so they were paying the stars of their biggest shows a fortune. But hers, they couldn't calculate because it was part of her overall deal with Netflix. It's like how
to do a bunch of Netflix content,
to do just a ton of Netflix.
And we started noticing that kind of thing, like, I don't know, 8-9 years ago. And when a lot of actors would just show up, it's almost like they show up at Netflix headquarters for 2 months and film a bunch of shit for a bunch of different things. Because then all of a sudden they're in a bunch of new Netflix shows, like in supporting roles here or there. But it's also that, like, when you're watching the show, underneath it says also recommended. And then it's just all their other Netflix stuff. Everything else that this actor is in, like, they've calculated the recommended column already because they just cast the same people in their shit.
Right. It's just a little different with her because she became a star because of Netflix, and now it's like I think they probably rightfully count on, again, the young audience who grew up with her. That's like Millie Bobby Brown as a person is like Netflix comfort food. So it's like, okay, we'll just because again, I've never seen any of the Enola Holmes movies, but they keep making them. So
I saw the first one. I don't remember anything about it, but I saw the first one.
I just know the new one's funny because the whole ad campaign is that there's like romance, and you wouldn't know it's about like a member of the Holmes family if not for the title.
Oh yeah, well, Enola's getting married, Eric. So, but guess what? Brother Sherlock's vanished. So,
oh no, there's a mystery.
And guess what? The culprit is nanobots. Just kidding.
I assume Henry Cavill works 2 days on each of these things.
Yes, he just pops up and says, "Oh, Enola," and then like tussles her hair, and then
that's Enola for you.
But I will say that what's his name from Station 11 is going to be in the new Hamish Patel is Watson in these movies, by the way. It's going to be in the new X-Files. Okay. Did I say Station 11 or Leftovers? I can't remember.
Station 11. Station 11.
Okay, good. Okay, let's talk about, we're spending a lot of time here. Ocean's 11 Origins? That's not what it's called, right?
No, we don't know the title.
I'm what being Eric put.
silly.
Ocean's 11, colon, the Wolverine is has cast more people because we already know it's Bradley Cooper and Margot Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've added, since we're doing a bit of catch up here. The most recent is Josh Gad.
Mm-hmm.
But then before that was Wagner Moura, who you would see from Narcos or the Secret Agent from last year. And then Monica Barbaro, who is in that new movie Fuck Purge.
Well, you also mentioned her. You mentioned Fubar just a few minutes ago.
Yes,
so,
Fubar and Fuck Purge, and also Top Gun Maverick.
So. Wagner Moura was the only one we missed because Monica Barbaro was also this week. This thing is ramping up quick. So, I mean, it's definitely, this movie's been in development for a long time. In fact, because it was going to be a Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling reunion at one point.
Can they please undo somehow in a bookend or a post-credit Danny Ocean's death from fucking Ocean's 8?
Look, I mean, they're also developing.
Which is insane.
I know, but they're still developing.
They're also still doing a George Clooney one, but yeah.
I'm more at this point because this movie specifically, they keep talking about it. This is Danny Ocean's parents. I'm like, they better not forget he has a sister. Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah, if they do, then really, it's like Ocean's 8 doesn't count, and then maybe I could breathe easier and sleep easier if that's the case. And then we've got so a new G.I. Joe movie is coming to us via Danny McBride, and on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, he talked a bit about the movie, and has a completed script that he says Paramount is happy with. And there are, he says, quote unquote, interesting people who are in talks to start of the film. And he says it will follow Duke and a group of other Joes that go to a town called Springfield that is all secretly Cobra. Spoilers for this movie, if that's a big reveal. But anyway, sounds like it's a smaller scale Joe movie is from that premise. I can't speak to the larger battle sequences, but maybe this is a sign that some of these IPs coming back are going to not cost $150 million. I don't know.
Yeah, one can hope, because it's funny because it was interesting to watch this interview and see he is a huge lifelong fan. He's like me. And he pitched a Dreadnoks movie first. That's what he first wanted to do, and then they said no. We need to once again reestablish G.I. Joe as a thing.
Yeah, and forget about the whole Transformers crossover movie that's never going to happen. Yeah,
but then the fact that he wanted to pull this idea from the comic books. This is all from the Marvel G.I. Joe comic in the 80s of the town of Springfield. That's all Cobra. And everyone there, it's like, it's funny because it's a classic conceit, that a go-to conceit, which is the shiny happy suburbia where something is wrong, and it's like and that's a go-to that works all the time, and it's a fun way to do it for G.I. Joe. And like you said, sounds like it could be done cheaper, which I think everyone agrees would be the trick here, because as much as I can be excited about Danny McBride is really a big G.I. Joe fan, and he said this will not be a comedy, and he knows his shit. I also am I'm aware, who is the audience for G.I. Joe? Now, there's been G.I. Joe movies, and I looked, and the first two did okay. The first one was 300 million. The second was close to 400 million, G.I. Joe Retaliation. So it actually is funny they didn't do another one.
That's when they killed them all. No, right. I'm just saying premise-wise, this is very small compared to, what if we kill all the Joes, and then Zartan's president, and he wants to nuke the world?
No, for sure.
So it's sort of like...
But I was just saying, it's not like Masters of the Universe as far as totally off the radar for some people culturally, but I also don't think a lot of young people care about G.I. Joe.
They don't care.
No.
They don't care about these IPs.
No. And
I think that the people, I think that the people, now that we were in 90s and early aughts nostalgia IP returns, I don't think that love is enough to carry these blockbusters either. I think we've reached a massive tipping point here.
But there's always, this isn't to say you can't find a new audience if you have a hook that will get them.
That being said, the next Shrek film is going to do huge.
My God. Because it's going to hit so big with the nostalgia aspect of the right demo. But yeah, I think if they did a G.I. Joe movie that was $80 million budget and small scale, it doesn't mean it couldn't be a breakout hit. It's just they can't spend $200 million on this sucker. And so anyway, I'm excited for this. Again, not my money. But also, if they are ever going to turn G.I. Joe into an actual movie franchise, they need to approach it in a smart way. They also need to make a much better movie than Snake Eyes. Why was that so bad? The fight scenes weren't good, Matt. It's a Snake Eyes movie.
I know. I watched it. It wasn't good. I didn't really enjoy any of it.
No, I was like, just give me good fight scenes. That would be, but they didn't. But anyway,
that's all we wanted from Iron Fist. They couldn't
right?
give us that.
Nope.
So, I want to talk about a few things. Are we done with Joe?
We're done with Joe. I'm crossing my fingers this happens and that it's good and it does well. All the things.
All right. Very quickly, Insidious is about to wrap up. We've got Insidious: The Red Door next, and that's our final one until we do one in a few weeks regarding the new movie that comes out August. I don't know.
Insidious 6. Yeah.
And but then next, and this is if you're not keeping up with the Insidious and you're just listening to the news right now, our next run will be 1986. Yes, and so we'll do Eric will choose some and I'll choose some, and we'll go through 86 movies that are less obvious movies. Obviously the ones that are excluded are ones that are possible ones we'll do for franchise runs in the future, and then like the big tentpole ones necessarily. So usually something not terribly small but not terribly big, and maybe even times I know Eric in the past has used it to watch a movie he's never watched before, so it's like an excuse to see something that we've missed. Anyway, let's get to these Youse, which I wanted to start the episode with, but Eric was adamant about casting to the way back of the episode. Okay, Eric, Brian just wrote in very quickly that he enjoyed your Michael Johnston interview, and you should plug it shamelessly.
I should.
And you have not brought it up on the podcast, so you should do that.
Yeah, I have an interview with Michael Johnston from Obsession. You can watch it on my YouTube channel, which is Eric Goldman's Cultured Pop. It's at the Eric Goldman at YouTube. And yeah, it was really fun talking to him. I really liked what his thoughts were on all of this. And it's just was, well, I should mention, by the way, as we were talking about Obsession, that I don't know, I'm sure you saw, Matt, that the four of them were brought on stage by Kid Cudi at his concert.
Yes.
Yeah. Just it has to be so wild to have that flip, that just the switch. The flip happens and you are a pretty much unknown. I mean, he and Indy Navarrete had both worked. He was on Teen Wolf, she was on Superman and Lois, but they were not stars.
I still think it's interesting when you can play a character in a movie and it's one of maybe your first like really big projects or like breakout projects that's going to be a Halloween costume or a cosplay going forward, right? Like, yeah. And Obsession, Nikki was cosplayed at Texas Frightmare literally, I think, 2 weeks after Obsession came out.
Yep.
Like it was such a huge like insta hit that it was still raking it in at the theaters when that convention.
And you sent me pictures of fan art. Yeah. I'm sorry. Who was the name of the person who wrote that?
Ryan.
Thank you for the
Brian. No, with a B.
Brian. Thank you even more.
Yeah. Screw that Ryan guy.
Yeah, Ryan sucks. But Brian, thank you. That was very kind of you. And if you could watch that interview, I'd appreciate it as well.
Okay.
Brian already did.
I'm gonna just bring this up. I don't think it's really spoilery, so I'm going to talk about it. This is in relation to our Supergirl chat. Curtis writes in hearing about the source material, they should have had Kara swearing in Kryptonian in the movie. And then if they did the subtitles for anything, it could be the, asterisk at symbol, like exclamation point stuff in the subtitles if they were subtitling it. I think that's because I mentioned like when I hear frickin' too much, it takes me out of a movie sometimes.
Yeah, and then I said in the comics she swears all the time. They just do the comic book old school thing.
But if she swears Kryptonian, or if they made up a thing like they did with like Firefly or BSG or something where they make up a whole new fuck, or
Well, no, but I think that is the perfect solution. Is
have her swear in Kryptonian.
Yeah. I like that idea a lot because I did think that was missing.
And then he writes, and Lobo took the place of Comet, ? They should have had Jason Momoa play Comet. Especially if they use Comet's backstory where he was a guy who was turned into a horse and has a huge crush on Supergirl. Okay.
This is all true. Yes.
This is all good. These are all good ideas. Okay.
Comet the horse did not make the movie.
If we had just followed Curtis's suggestions, we'd be looking at a $400 million movie right now.
$400 million opening.
Opening. No, that's right. Yeah. Opening. Domestic.
Give the people what they want.
Okay, Dexter. So now we have some Insidious comments because last time I said nobody cares about Insidious, so people felt bad. I guess I don't know. Dexter writes, since you guys asked for Insidious comments, I apologize. I haven't listened to the recaps since we already rewatched all the Insidious movies a while ago. But did you guys ever hear about the Insidious stage show that they were running?
Yes.
I had bought tickets to go see this in Orlando, but apparently it was so poorly received that they canceled the entire run. Sad, says Dexter.
Yeah, I did hear about this. Did you hear about this, Matt?
I did not.
Yeah, it was like, it's so weird because it's like they're doing all these like events and shows, and it's very surprising sometimes like what they're trying to see what they can turn into live events. And Paranormal Activity is coming to Broadway. I saw that stage show, which originated I think in London, and then it came to Los Angeles, and a few others did a small US tour, and now it's going to Broadway. And I think it's very well done. I don't want to say it's like the best thing ever. It's just it is very well done. For how would you do Paranormal Activity as a stage show? How would you get a couple really good scares into a stage show? They passed that test. But I saw
okay, sorry. I was just reading what the actual concept of this show is.
Right. Well, tell me a little more.
It's like a live show that hosted by Specs and Tucker that supposedly goes wrong in the middle of the show, like real demons and shit come in as they're supposed to be just doing a public Q&A session or something.
I did not know Specs and Tucker were involved.
Yeah. So one more thing you can blame on Specs and Tucker if you are an anti-fan, like apparently most people are.
I hope that he was eating a Hot Pocket.
Yes. He's like, oh no, you've unleashed you do the incantation. Here's Hoticus Poticus, and like this fucking snack demon comes out.
I'm reading a quote from when it got canceled in Detroit on its fourth stop. When I walked out of the theater, it wasn't even a sense of anger. Everyone was just as confused as I was. I wouldn't even call it a parody, because a parody would infer it's funny. I want to know what the show...
Lee Wanell.
Not my Specs. Hashtag.
Now I have to see it. Okay, so Scott writes in, I felt so badly last week when Matt said he wasn't sure if no one wrote in because they didn't like Insidious. I mean... this is couching my comment is that I know that there are some people who listen to us who actually don't like horror. So we do quite a bit of horror. So sometimes they skip runs is my point. Like they'll come in for the Spielberg movies or the Fast and Furious or whatever, but like they don't like the spookies. Anyway, and they're wrong. Let me be clear about that for not liking them, but it's their prerogative. Bobby Brown said it's their prerogative. Okay. I knew nothing about this series before you announced it, and I'm really happy you did. I've loved the first 4 movies. They're creepy and interesting. Elise is my favorite protagonist so far. I do also agree with Eric that the audio jump scares in the series are terrifying. Can't wait to watch the last one next week. Thanks, says Scott. So there you go. New Insidious fan.
That's cool. Thanks, Scott. And yeah, I think that third movie, as we talked about, just really good audio jump scares. Jump scares, I think, get a bad rap because people are like, they're cheap, they're easy, but they're not easy because we see ones that don't work, that don't land. And that third movie has a lot of ones that really do land, but of course, using the right sting of music at the right time is important. I think I forgot to mention, by the way, it was in my notes, and sometimes I'll miss things, that when I was watching the fourth one, Luna, my cat, was laying on me, and there was a big jump scare. Oh, it was like the kid at the beginning when like the little boy's talking to her, and the Elise as a little girl, and he runs by in the background, and they do the music sting. It freaked the shit out of Luna. She like popped up and stared at the TV.
So my girlfriend is jumps a lot with just the audio, like audio jump scares. Yeah. And it doesn't mean it's designed to be a jump scare. It doesn't mean it's like someone pops out or something. Any music or sound cue that's loud abruptly is scary. Like that's what gets her. So like Obsession, there are, I'm using air quotes, jump scares, but it's just like it's a transition from scene to scene, but there's a loud sound. So it's sort of like Bear sits in his car, boom, like it's nothing happened necessarily except editing, going from one place to another. But it's just accompanied by a very loud noise that makes her jump. Okay.
And she goes, Jesus Christ.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. So anyway, sound. What can you do? Okay, so that's our news and use for this week. We've got Insidious: The Red Door coming up, and then 1986 movies. I know one of which I'm going to pick, but the other one, I don't know.
I have zero ideas, except I say that, and literally as I'm saying that, I start to think about a couple of ideas.
Of course. So there you go. Until next time, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shockma.
Shockma.
Shockma!